I noticed that some of you were asking the question, is that a book we've already read? Because it looks very much like a book that we've read. The title of the book that we read is Miss Nelson is Missing. And this one is Miss Nelson is Back. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is show you what good readers do while they're reading. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in my head when I'm reading a book. So today I'm going to kind of allow you to eavesdrop on my brain. Do you know what that means? Eavesdrop?
Yeah, you like
your spine. You're listening in. Okay, so I'm going to let you eavesdrop on my brain. And I'm going to show you what I'm thinking in my head by holding up this sign and telling you what I'm thinking. Okay, so I'm going to model for you how to think aloud. So normally this just goes on in my mind, but today I'm going to let you hear what's happening in my mind because I want you to be aware of what good readers do while they're reading. Good readers think about the words that they're reading. Remember, I told y'all it doesn't matter if you can say every word on the page. The most important part of reading is making sure you get the meaning. Alright, so today I'm going to model for you thinking aloud. And the book is called Miss Nelson is Back. And it's by James Marshall. And like I said, I'm wondering if this is going to be a whole lot like the book we read, Miss Nelson is Missing, because it sure looks a lot like it.
And they got the same kids.
That's true. It does. It has the same kids.
It's the same room.
Alright. One Friday, Miss Nelson told her class that she was going to have her tonsils out. I'll be away next week, she said, and I expect you to behave. Yes, Miss Nelson, said the kids in 207. Can everybody see?
Yes. No, they're not going to behave.
You know, I'm thinking about how the children acted the last time Miss Nelson was out.
It was so bad.
They were really bad. So, in my mind, I'm wondering, are they going to do better this time? Or are they going to act just as badly as they did before?
Just as bad.
We'll see. But at recess, it was another story. Wow, said the kids. Wait a minute, let me make sure it's still a page. Yeah, okay. Wow, said the kids. While Miss Nelson is away, we can really act up. Not so fast, said a big kid from 309. Haven't you heard of Viola Swamp? Who? Said Miss Nelson's kids. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I wonder if Viola Swamp is the same lady that took over when Miss Nelson was missing before.
Yeah, but that was her.
I'm going to have to keep reading and find out.
But that was her. It's on the back. Her hair is black.
Yep, there's a picture of her. Okay, listen. Voice is off. Miss Nelson is the meanest substitute in the whole world, said the big kid. Nobody acts up when she's around. Oh, said Miss Nelson's kids. She's a real witch, said the big kid. Ooh, said Miss Nelson's kids. I'll just bet you get the swamp, said the big kid. I'm wondering if that's gonna happen. And you know what else? I'm noticing in my head that these children are looking really afraid. So I'm thinking that this big kid here has got them kind of worried. So let's see if they have a reason to be worried.
And she got some long nails.
Wouldn't come to school. On Monday morning, Miss Nelson's kids were all in their seats. They were very nervous. Some of them had not slept well all weekend.
Oh.
I know that when I don't sleep good, it's because I am very nervous, not just a little nervous. If it interrupts my sleep, it's because something big is going on. If we get the swamp, I'll just die, said one kid. They heard footsteps in the hall. Slowly, the knob turned, and the door opened. It was Mr. Blansworth, the principal. I shall personally take over this class, he said. I bet those kids are really relieved. Miss Nelson's kids were so relieved, but they soon learned that Mr. Blansworth was not a lot of fun. I'm wondering if he's going to be mean, like Miss Swamp. All morning, Mr. Blansworth tried to amuse the class with his corny card tricks. "Oh, brother," said the class. That afternoon, Mr. Blansworth showed the class his favorite shadow pictures. "This is kid stuff," said the class. The next day, Mr. Blansworth demonstrated his favorite bird calls. They were not a success. And for 2 days, Mr. Blansworth showed slides of his goldfish, Lucille. Miss Nelson's kids had never been so bored. This kind of reminds me of my principal, because he'll tell jokes or he'll get to talking about something and he'll go on and on and on, and he thinks what he has to say is so interesting, but sometimes we're just bored. So I definitely know how these children feel. While dusting erasers in the schoolyard, 3 of the ringleaders of 207 discussed the situation. "Something will have to be done," they said. "We must get rid of Blansworth." And they hatched a plot. Now, I'm not real familiar with that word plot, but I know that they want to get rid of Mr. Blansworth, so I'm thinking that maybe a plot is a plan, a kind of plan. And how can I find out if that prediction is accurate?
Just keep reading.
Just keep reading. After school, they painted and sewed and borrowed some old clothes, and they practiced some very difficult stunt work in the backyard. I'm really curious as to what these kids are up to.
They might sneak into his office and try to steal some.
They might sneak into his office. I don't know.
Even his house.
The next day, they weren't in class. That's too bad, said Mr. Blansworth. They'll miss all the excitement. Mr. Blansworth was about to show the class his collection of ballpoint pens from all over the world when someone came to the door. Now, good readers think about what they're reading and they make predictions. Turn to your neighbor and talk about who you think might be at that door. Alright, so turn and talk to your neighbor. I don't know, what do y'all think? We don't know where the kids are. Because we talked about how one of the days they know kids run the class, and now they're showing somebody at the door.
It might be the teacher or somebody else.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. Ty says, well, tell us what you think, Ty. Share your thinking.
I could have said, I thought it may be the kids dressed up as Miss Nelson so the principal can go away.
That would be a really good plot, wouldn't it? If they came up with a plan to fake and act like they were the teacher, that's pretty smart. All right, let's keep reading and find out what happened. Oh, look, said the class. Miss Nelson is back. A tall and lumpy Miss Nelson tottered into the room. I wonder if tottered can be some kind of clumsy walk.
How
Mr. Blansworth was surprised. "You're back sooner than expected," he said. The tall and lumpy Miss Nelson didn't speak. Said the kid. Her throat must still be sore." "Are you sure you're well enough?" said Mr. Blansworth. "She's sure," said the kids. "Well, in that case," said the principal, "I'll be getting back to the office. Nice to have you back, Miss Nelson." And he left the room. So what do you notice about that picture? That's not really Miss Nelson. Alright, so that's one thing that good readers do. They pay attention to the pictures because sometimes the pictures give you clues about what's really going on. Alright, let's see what's happening. "Hot dog!" cried the class. "We got rid of Blansworth. Now we can just do as we please." And at the stroke of 10, the kids from 207 left the building. No one stopped them. They went straight to the movies where they saw The Monster That Ate Chicago twice. "This is really living," they said. Afterward, they went to Lulu's where they stuffed themselves silly. But soon, they made a serious mistake. Turn to your neighbor and talk about what that mistake might be. Okay, 1 to 3, eyes on me. Janiyah said she's thinking that Miss Nelson is back. So now they've made a mistake. They didn't account for the fact that Miss Nelson could really come back. I don't know. We'll have to keep reading and find out. Heading back to the school. Okay, so they made a serious mistake. Heading back to the school, they passed Miss Nelson's house. Miss Nelson couldn't believe her eyes. Those are my kids," she said in a scratchy voice. "Oh, sorry. Those are my kids," she said in a scratchy voice. "What are they doing out of school? And who is that with them?" So what was their mistake?
They went to a fake Miss Nelson, and then Miss Nelson had, the real Miss Nelson had caught them.
They made the mistake of walking by Miss Nelson's house, and there she is, so busted. Miss Nelson telephoned Mr. Blansworth to see what was going on. "You're not Miss Nelson," said Mr. Blansworth. "Miss Nelson is back." And he hung up. "Can't fool me," he said. Said Miss Nelson. "Something will have to be done." And she went to her closet.
She put
I'm thinking last time we saw Miss Nelson's closet, we were able to figure out that she was actually Miss Swamp because of her wig and then like the white dress and the boots. Yeah, all that stuff. So I'm wondering if she is fixing to turn back in
to Swamp.
to Miss Swamp.
Yes. Maybe she might. Is she gonna be back for real? Not with Slippery.
I don't know. Back in 207, Miss Nelson's kids were spending an agreeable afternoon. I'm thinking agreeable probably means pretty pleasant, because I know if I didn't have a teacher in the room, I'd be having a pretty good time. They were very pleased with themselves. "We should do this more often," they said. They didn't notice the figure in the hall. Turn to your neighbor and talk about what you think might be happening Alright, 1 to 3, eyes on me. Crisscross applesauce. Slowly, the knob turned. And the door opened. And right here, good readers are thinking, they're making their predictions about what's fixing to happen. My name is Viola Swamp, said the lady in a scratchy voice. Yikes! The kids cried. The swamp! That's right, said Miss Swamp. And I'm here to whip this class into shape. Get back to those desks on the double. Class did as it was told. The big kid from 309 was certainly right. Miss Swamp was a real witch. She knew how to get results. The class did a whole week's work in no time. We shouldn't have gotten rid of Blandsworth, they said. Pipe down, said the Swamp. Or, just then, something under a desk attracted her attention. I'm wondering what could be attracting her attention under the desk.
The man in that letter right there.
It was a mask. Aha, said Miss Swamp. So that's your little game. And she tried on the mask just as Mr. Blandsworth stepped into the room. Miss Nelson, said Mr. Blandsworth, I'm of the opinion that someone has been impersonating you. Uh-oh, whispered the kids. Now, I know impersonated is a big word, and it could be a little hard to figure out if I just saw it somewhere. But I can figure it out using clues from the text. Let me read that sentence again, and then I want you to talk with your neighbor about what you think it means to impersonate. Real quick. Miss Nelson, said Mr. Blandsworth, I'm of the opinion that someone has been impersonating you. Turn to your neighbor and talk about what impersonating is.
I think he impersonates. Yeah, tricky.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. Crisscross applesauce. I don't know, Lanaya. Good readers make sure they understand the words they're reading. So what do you think impersonating means?
Tricking.
It could be something about tricking. What do you think?
Replacing.
Replacing. I like that word. That's a good word. Anybody have any other ideas?
Teaching them a lesson.
Pranking. Teaching them a lesson. Jamarcus, what do you think, baby?
Talking's crazy.
Okay, so talking to baby. Hey, we don't know. Let's see if we can keep reading, Patrick, and find out.
Later had it in the destination take it away.
Okay, all right. So let's see. I'm of the opinion that someone is impersonating you. I think impersonating is when you, because based on what the kids did, what they acted like they were Miss Nelson, and they weren't. So I wonder if impersonating means kind of like acting like you're somebody else, and that you're really not. We'll have to look more into that word, won't we? That's a good word. You don't say, said Miss Swamp. Probably just some kids acting up. I'm sure it won't happen again. And Mr. Blandsworth left. And it won't, will it? Said Miss Swamp to the class. Because the swamp will be watching.
It's a couple of
A minute later, Miss Nelson appeared. I'm back, she said. Hot dog, cried the kid. Are we glad to see you? Did you have fun with Mr. Blandsworth? Asked Miss Nelson. Said the kids. They decided not to mention Miss Viola Swamp, but they wondered why Miss Nelson hadn't seen her in the hall. Wait. I wonder if the kids have finally learned their lesson?
Yes.
Talk to your neighbor about whether you think they've learned their lesson and why.
What was it? Yes. And the next
Eyes on me. Did you have something to share, Samara? Go ahead, baby.
I think just because all that mess ups happened, they're glad that Miss Nelson is back so they won't be mean to her and nothing will be happen.
Yeah, so maybe they'll start being sweet and, maybe they'll appreciate next time if they have a substitute, as long as it's anybody but Ball the Swamp. Okay, all right, so let me wrap up and then we'll all, talk about our thoughts a little bit later, but I got to finish up. So, when good readers are reading, they ask themselves questions like, I wonder what's going to happen next. Or they may ask themselves, okay, am I understanding what these words are telling me? So today I was thinking aloud for you just to show you that good readers are constantly thinking while they're reading. And again, why is it important to understand what you're reading and not just be able to say the words? Why is it important to understand what the words are telling you?
So you can understand the words. So you can understand the words that I give.
Yeah, you do have to be able to understand the words, but who cares? Why do you need to be able to understand? Now, it's important to read the words perfectly to get the meaning. To get the meaning. So that you'll know what it's telling you, because that's what you do. When you go to college, you're going to have to read like really thick books, and you're going to be able to say most of the words in there. But if you don't know what those words are telling you, you're not going to really know much, are you? Okay? You got to be able to learn by figuring out what those words are trying to tell you. All right. So, we're going to work some more on thinking aloud. Tomorrow, you're going to show me more of what you think when you read, and we're going to talk about some of those words, like plot and impersonating. All right, so we're going to go back to our seat now, and I think y'all did really good sitting attentively and paying attention and listening. Good job, first grade.